All right, hello and welcome. So today we're going to talk about a word you probably use every single day, maybe dozens of times without even thinking about it. On the surface, it seems super simple, but it's actually hiding a ton of complexity. And that word is front.
So let me just ask you, right off the bat, how many ways can you actually use the word front? Just think about it for a second. What comes to mind? 2? Maybe 3? Well, it turns out there's a lot more going on with this little word. Let's dive in and find out.
Okay, here's the plan for today. We're going to start by asking, is front really a simple word? Then, I'll show you the cool tool we're using to figure this out. After that, we'll break down front as a noun, then as an adjective and a verb. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about why any of this actually matters.
All right, section 1. A simple word? Let's unpack this common term. So yeah, let's jump right into that first question. Is front really as simple as it seems? I mean, we're about to take a closer look at a word we all feel like we know inside and out.
You know, at first glance, front feels, well, basic, right? The front of the line, the front of a building, it's easy stuff. But it's kind of like an iceberg, you know? What you see on the surface is just a tiny piece of the whole story. Most of its real meaning is lurking just underneath.
And this is where it starts to get really interesting. See, front doesn't just have one job in our language. It can be a noun, a thing or a place. It can be an adjective, a word that describes something. And get this, it can even be a verb, an action word. That's 3 totally different jobs for one tiny word.
So, how in the world do we make sense of all this? Well, thankfully, there's a pretty simple solution. We're going to use this fantastic tool that is literally designed to bring clarity to exactly this kind of mess.
Our guide for this whole explainer is the Simple English Wiktionary. It's basically an online dictionary that explains things using really basic words and shorter sentences. It's the perfect tool for what we're doing today. And just so we're all on the same page, every single definition we're about to look at comes straight from that source. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We'll start with the one we all know best, front, used as a noun. Now, this might seem totally obvious at first, but trust me, it's about way more than just being the opposite of back. So as a noun, front can mean the opposite of back. Of course, it can be the forward-facing side of something, like a car, or the side of a building with the main door. But then, it takes this completely different turn. It can also be a weather front, where cold and warm air meet. Just right there, that's 4 totally separate meanings.
But wait, there's more. Just when you think you've got a handle on it, the context completely changes and boom, so does the meaning. In a military setting, the word front takes on a whole new identity.
Yeah, in a military context, the front is the direction where the enemy is. It's also the specific area where armies are actually fighting. We call it the front lines. So if you're keeping score, just for the noun form, we're already up to 6 different definitions. Crazy, right? Okay, let's switch gears. What happens when front stops being a thing and starts being a description or an action? Yep, it's time to look at front as an adjective and a verb.
All right, the adjective form is probably the easiest one to wrap your head around. When front is used as an adjective, it's just describing something that's located at, well, the front. Pretty straightforward, no tricks here.
I mean, think about a perfect everyday example, the front door. In that phrase, front isn't a place, is it? It's a descriptor. It's telling us which door we're talking about. Okay, now for the verb. And this is where things get really wild, because the 2 main definitions could not be more different from each other. First, to front can mean to lead a group. And second, in a much more informal way, it means to give someone something before they can pay for it, like spotting them some cash. So for that first definition, here it is in action. The singer Bono fronts the band U2. He's the lead singer, right? The public face of the group. He is literally performing the action of leading. And then you have this second totally different meaning. Check this out. Bill fronted him dinner and Tom paid him back the next day. This just means Bill paid for the meal. Kind of like a short-term loan. A completely different action from leading a band, isn't it? So, all of this brings us to our final section. Why does any of this matter? After digging into all these definitions, what's the big picture here? Why on earth did we just spend all this time on one single, supposedly simple word?
All right, take a look at this number. 1,000. What in the world could that possibly have to do with the word front?
Well, get this. According to our source, the word front is one of the 1,000 most common headwords in the entire English language. Just let that sink in for a second. A word with, at least 9 different meanings across 3 different parts of speech is a word we use constantly, every single day, as part of our most basic vocabulary.
So here's the real takeaway, the crucial point of all this. The words we think are the simplest, they're often the most complicated. And yeah, tools like the Simple English Wiktionary are amazing for figuring them out, but the real lesson here is all about communication. Understanding these hidden layers, knowing that when you say front, the person listening might hear something totally different, that's the absolute key to communicating more clearly.
And that just leaves me with one final question for you. Now that you've seen how deep the rabbit hole goes with a word like front, what other simple, everyday word do you think is secretly just as complex? Give it some thought. Thanks for joining me.